This is the Meta Quest 3 512GB, and I picked it up to see if a standalone headset could really pull double duty for high-quality VR and practical mixed reality. I went in skeptical because I've used older headsets that looked good on paper but felt clunky in daily use. A few sessions later, I have a clear picture of where this shines, where it stumbles, and how I've been using it in real life. The design looks familiar at a glance, but the slimmer profile is the first thing I noticed. Pancake lenses let the screen sit closer to your eyes, so the visor doesn't protrude as much. That change sounds small, but on your face, it matters. The front has a trio of sensor cutouts with dual RGB color cameras that handle the mixed reality see-through view. The facial interface is softer than I expected, and there's a physical IPD dial to set the distance between your pupils for clarity. You can also adjust how close your face sits to the lenses, which help me open up the field of view and reduce that tunneled goggles feeling. Out of the box, the weight balance leans forward. The default soft strap holds the headset, but during longer sessions I felt pressure on my cheeks and forehead and had to tighten it more than I liked to keep the image stable. After a couple of longer nights, I added a rigid counterbalance strap with a battery. That changed everything for comfort. The weight shifted back, I could loosen the fit, and I stopped thinking about pressure points. In my opinion, if you plan to use the Quest 3 more than casually, budget for a better strap. Setup was straightforward. The Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 chip makes menus and downloads feel snappy. And with 8GB of RAM, I saw smoother app switching than older headsets I've used. Key features that jumped out immediately were the 4K plus infinite display and the color passthrough. The per-eye resolution is 2064 by 2208, and I ran refresh rates at 90 Hz for most things, 120 Hz for games that support it. Text is noticeably sharper than my previous headset, and edges in high-contrast scenes hold up well. Mixed reality is where I had the biggest oh wow moment. Pass-through means the cameras show your room in real time, and the system anchors virtual objects to it. From my experience, I could park a giant virtual screen over my kitchen counter and play a show while I made coffee, or pin a floating to-do list near the sink while doing dishes. I can read my phone at arm's length and scan labels without lifting the headset. The catch is lighting. In a bright room, daylight streaming in, the view looks surprisingly clean and usable. Under warm, dim bulbs, I saw grain, color noise, and some blur. Quick head turns can also introduce a little warping, like straight lines bending for a split second. I adjusted by moving slower and turning on more lights when I wanted to use MR seriously. On the VR side, graphics feel like a real step up. The 2x graphical processing power claim lines up with what I'm seeing in load times, texture detail, and general responsiveness. It's not magic, but it's fast, and games that push clarity benefit a lot from the resolution bump. I also used it for PC VR with a cable and over fast Wi-Fi. With a capable GPU on my desktop, I ran 120 Hz and high render scales to counter compression. A bit of tweaking made a big difference. Upping render resolution in-game and using a milder anti-aliasing option kept things crisper than sharpening the stream after the fact. If you enjoy fine-tuning visuals, the Quest 3 gives you room to do it. The controllers feel better than expected without the big tracking rings. My hands can get close together without knocking plastic, and the haptics feel more nuanced than the last generation. Tracking has been rock solid in my space, and hand tracking for casual navigation is improving, though I still prefer controllers for anything precise. Audio is punchier than the previous model I owned, with more volume headroom and a touch more bass. Spatial cues are clear, which helps in both games and MR apps. There's also a 3.5mm jack if you want closed-back headphones. Battery life has been around 2 to 3 hours depending on the load. If I'm pushing 120 Hz or MR heavy apps, it's closer to the lower end. Lighter use gives me more time. It's enough for a session, but not an all-day device without a battery strap or a cable. I also follow simple battery habits, like avoiding leaving it fully charged for long periods when I'm not using it. And I use the included charger to keep charging behavior predictable. Storage matters more than I realized. With 512GB, I installed a ton of apps and several large games without worrying about juggling space. Some titles are well over 20GB now, and mixed reality apps are only getting heavier with assets. Not having to delete and re-download is a quiet but real quality of life win. The 3-month trial of Meta Horizon Plus gave me quick access to a library of games so I could test a range of content on day one, which helped me see the performance envelope fast. I did run into one caution I want to share. I've seen reports from other users about accounts getting flagged after traveling and signing in from new countries, which can lock store access until support resolves it. It hasn't happened to me, but I'm careful about two-factor auth and I plan ahead if I'm taking the headset on trips. From my experience, the clarity is the standout. The combination of the higher resolution, pancake lenses, and the ability to fine-tune IPD and face distance makes everything pop. The field of view feels more natural, and I get less of that looking through a tube vibe. The dual RGB cameras make MR actually useful for quick tasks, not just a demo. The new chip and 8 GB of RAM cut down stutter and help heavy apps feel stable. The controllers are the right size, thoughtfully redesigned, and the lack of rings is a real comfort gain. And the 512 GB storage is the unsung hero. No more constant uninstalling. There are real limitations. The stock strap doesn't keep the weight off your face for long sessions. Pass-through quality depends on bright, neutral lighting, and quick head motions can show distortion. There's no eye tracking, so no true foveated rendering to save power, which could have extended runtime. And the built-in battery still caps standalone play to a couple of hours unless you use an external pack. None of these are deal breakers for me, but they do shape how I use it. In my opinion, a counterbalanced strap transforms comfort, and good lighting transforms mixed reality. It's perfect for anyone who wants the most capable standalone headset right now and is willing to add a better strap. If you're a VR enthusiast, an early MR adopter, or a developer who wants sharp visuals and strong processing in a self-contained unit, this fits. If you plan to stream PC VR, the display and 120Hz support make it a great wireless viewer when paired with a strong router and a solid GPU. If you want a lightweight all-day productivity visor, the lighting needs and battery time may frustrate you. Key features that matter to me are the 4K plus infinite display at 2064 by 2208 per eye, the Snapdragon XR2 Gen 2 with a real bump in GPU performance, full color pass-through with dual RGB cameras, 8 GB of RAM for stability, and the roomy 512 GB storage that keeps my library installed. I'd recommend this for people who value clarity, want practical MR for short tasks, and appreciate having headroom for larger games and apps without constant storage management. In conclusion, the Meta Quest 3 512 GB delivers the strongest overall standalone experience I've used so far. The visuals are sharp, MR is genuinely useful when the room is bright, and the performance feels next-gen for this form factor. The comfort story depends on adding a better strap, and the battery limits session length, but those are solvable. If you're upgrading from an older headset, you'll feel the difference right away. If you're new, you'll have a smoother on-ramp with this than most options. In my opinion, it's a premium choice that earns its spot. Just plan for the strap and, if needed, an external battery. You can view detailed information about the Meta Quest 3 512 GB in the comments section. Thank you for watching.